Except Cooper in the back, like what's up, little windows out of frame? Somebody wanna pull up. Big Cooper in the back, like what's up, little windows out of frame? Somebody wanna pull up. Big Cooper in the back, like what's up, little.
To see, to love, to speak.
Happy Monday, everybody. As you join, do me a favor and enter into the chat, and make sure that when you are entering in the chat that you're sending a message to everyone, not just the host. Let us know where in the world you are located. It's super fun to start building this community. And if you would, turn on your camera. This is our opportunity to actually see each other. So let's do it. Yay, see, it's not so bad, right? Just make sure that.
As much as you want. Once the school is penetrated by an aperture.
I'm just getting some. Here, let us know where you're from. Also, if you know anybody that you think would enjoy this live webinar. Oh my gosh, look at that. We got 2 people on one screen over there. Look at you guys. What up? Feel free to share the link to this to anyone right now. If you know anyone who you think would like to join this. This is our last live webinar in this series, and I will not give this webinar live again for at least a year, maybe longer. You never know what I'm up to. So if you feel like there's anyone that you know that you would like to share with, please feel free to do that now. And I am going to give it just a few minutes after noon. It hasn't been, we haven't even hit noon yet, just because, you know, people take a minute to join. If you are unmuted for some reason, you shouldn't be, because I had it set up so that everybody would be muted. But if you are, please mute yourself. Just becomes a little bit too much noise. And we will get started in just a moment. Yes, as you're getting in here, let us know where you are located. We've got people in here from England, Ireland, Savannah, Georgia, the UK, San Diego, Atlanta, Ontario, Canada, Norway, Bellingham, Germany, New York, Spain, Texas. I am such a dork. How cool is the internet that we can all be in the same room together from all over the world? It'll never be lost on me, or maybe one day it will, but so far it has not been lost on me. We got some locals too. Seattle, what's up? We're having a beautiful week in Seattle. Italy, jealous, one of my favorite places in the world. Oh, that's you guys up in the corner. That's my little buddies that are here as a team. Okay, awesome. Yay, we got people just pouring in. Super excited. I love live webinars because I am such a people person, and I feel like it's, you know, we all see so many things that are recorded, which are very valuable. I actually just attended a webinar as a student at 10 a.m. this morning. I'm learning how to invest, trying to be a grown-up. And I attended a webinar as a student, and I was like, oh gosh, I love being a student and I love being a teacher. It was really fun. All full circle. All right, I'm going to just keep on letting people in. I will stop letting people in at about 10 after. I'm going to get started in a few minutes, but it just gets to be too distracting for me, and it's really not as valuable for the people if they come late. So again, if you feel so inclined to let people know, feel free to share the link to this in your Instagram stories. You can share the link to this with friends via text. It doesn't matter. Now that we're at real time, we'd love to just see the room get full. And also, if you're just joining, I just let in like 20 people. As you come in, let everyone know where in the world you are located. It's just kind of fun to do that. If you see somebody from where you're located, send them a message. Now you have a friend in that area. Community over competition, baby. So what my sweatshirt says, it's a motto. This is my mastermind sweatshirt. Okay. So again, I'm kind of just going slow here because I want to wait till 12:05 and then I will officially get started. Pull up our thing here. I had music on, but it was kind of distracting me. So I guess I won't do that this time. And as you're coming in as well, please turn on your camera. We are photographers. We like to be on the other side of the lens. I'm literally in what I slept in last night. I'm no Jasmine Star. I'm not going to get my hair and makeup done before a webinar. I'm going to show up as I am. So it's okay to see the humanness that in your face. Like, this is a good thing. It's actually a good practice. This is not a business webinar. However, I'm always thinking about business, and you do have to show up. If you are a business owner in 2023, you do have to show your face. You are the face of your business. And so showing your face in a webinar is a great low risk time to do that. So welcome. Of course, if you're driving or something, like, you know, be careful, please. But if you can, please show your face. I love it. I love seeing all your faces. You guys are so cute. Okay. I'm going to give it just like one more minute and then I will get started. Again, if you just got here, let us know where you're from in the chat. Make sure that you are sending a chat to everyone, not just to the host, so that we can all see. And if you can turn on your camera, I would really love to see as many faces as I can. And we will get started. All right. Actually wish. Oh my gosh, people are just pouring in. This is awesome. The room max is out at 100. So I will send the replay to this, by the way. I will send the replay to this one and the one on Friday at the same time later today. Hopefully later today, maybe early tomorrow. I just realized that my kids are all going to be home after school today, which they normally aren't on this Monday. Anyway, so sometimes that kids first makes me a little bit more busy. I don't know, any of you have school age kids? It's like bananas after school. Like, it's insane. I have 4 kids. They're all in like elite activities. I'm basically a taxi driver. Okay. Welcome. I'm going to start sharing my screen. This. All right. And I do leave it open so that I can see my notes. So you'll see my notes as well. It's just the easier way for me to present. So welcome to a lifestyle approach to newborn photography. If you are new to me, actually, let me just do a couple housekeeping things. For one, in the chat, make sure that you have clicked the little, if it doesn't say everyone and you can't chat to everyone, make sure that it says everyone and you're not just sending me messages, because I want you guys to have your own little experience happening in the chat. Second, turn your camera on if you can. Please don't be afraid to show your face. This is a really important part of being a business owner. So this is a great time to get practicing with that. Third, let us know where you're from. We love to see where everyone's from when they join our webinars. It's just like such a cool, I mean, it's really just because I'm such a dork and I really do think the internet is so cool. And it just like blows my mind to have people like in Italy over here right now. Like, and it's evening in Italy. You guys are about to have a good glass of wine probably, or maybe I'm just fantasizing because I've only been there on vacation. But anyway, so welcome. And other thing I want to know now too, if you're new to Zoom, which probably none of you are, but sometimes people are, there's a little thing at the bottom where you can share reactions. And when you push that, you'll see the little option to raise a hand. And so when I say raise your hand, I really do want to see that little reaction hand come up. It helps me to see who's engaged. It's also a great way at the end, when I answer questions, I can keep them in order that way as well. And we will have plenty of time for questions in the end. All right, so I am going to get started. Welcome to the lifestyle approach to newborn photography. First thing I want to ask is, who is new to me as an online educator? If you're new to me, if this is your first time hearing me talk, raise your little hand. I want to just like see what that looks like. Oh, yeah, we got lots of new people. Okay, fun. That's so fun. I have a lot of my my veterans that come to a lot of my stuff, but it's really fun to see new people. Fantastic. Well, welcome. We are going to have a fun hour. This is going to be about an hour. And the next thing I want to ask you is to stay till the end. Full disclosure, I'm going to give you a ton of information. If you only watch this webinar, you will have skills to pose babies. You will have skills to execute a lifestyle newborn session in the home. I'm going to give you my shot list. I'm going to give you my exact step-by-step process that I use every time, and I have been using every time for nearly 9 years. But I am going to invite you to go deeper at the end. So I'm never going to try and scam anybody. Yes, of course, I am going to invite you to go deeper and join the full class that has helped thousands of photographers. And we are going to give you a discount. So please stay till the end. You signed up for this. Do yourself that favor of showing up for yourself. Get in the habit of doing that. And like I said, this isn't a business class, but I can't help but like business coach a little bit once in a while. Okay. So this is, you can unraise your hand now if you would like. I want you to kind of get in the habit of learning how to do all these things on Zoom. This is a lifestyle approach to newborn photography. I have been working with newborns in one way or another since I was 22 years old. I'm 40, so you can do the math. And I started working with newborns as a new nurse. I was a nurse for 10 years and I worked in the newborn intensive care unit. So I was a nurse from 2004 to 2004, well, no, 2005 to 2015. Sorry, I was off by a year. And I quit being a nurse and went full-time with photography in 2015 when my daughter was a year old. So there was about a 5-year overlap between the two careers. So newborns are something that I feel extremely passionate about, but not just taking a photo of a newborn, but doing it safely. So my approach is, in my opinion, safety first. So we're going to get into it. I feel extremely passionate about my approach to newborn photography because I feel like it is authentic. Hashtag authentic. I hate that word, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to put this on really quick so that I'm going to use it anyway, because it's really important for me to really drive that point home. So you'll see a lot about my philosophies as we move forward. So who the heck am I? Some of you are new to me, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Elena S. Blair. S is for Sanchez. That's my maiden name. And I have been a photographer who has had a business for 13 years. I've been a photographer, I would say, for about 15. And I started, like a lot of you, this is another thing, raise your hand if this resonates. I had a baby and well, maybe this part isn't going to resonate. I had my first baby at 24. I was home with him, and turns out not meant to be a stay-at-home mother. I learned that very quickly, and he was very intense. And I started taking photos of him. And what I realized, and I was doing it with like a point and shoot, I didn't have a real camera. What I realized was that, or a big camera, should I say? I realized that the photos that I was taking of him were not capturing what he looked like, they were capturing who he was. I was actually able to capture his personality with my camera, and I became obsessed with that thing, with that part of being a photographer. I'm not a photographer because I love gear. Sorry, Canon, they sponsor me now. I probably shouldn't say that a lot, but I'm not a photographer because I love gear. I don't get all hung up on settings. I don't really know why I know how to do things in manual mode. I totally taught myself. I'm obsessed with human connection. I'm obsessed with my ability to take a baby, a family, anyone that's in front of my camera, and to show the world what I feel and what I see and a little bit of that person's personality. So I am very much a mom with a camera who happened to turn my hobby into a multiple six-figure mini empire. I have been in business officially for 13 years, and I am still very much a working photographer. I do an average of 100 sessions per year. My biggest year was 2019. I did 180. That was dumb. It was way too many. I am trying to scale it down a little bit now just to get a little more balance in my life because my education platform is very busy. But last year I did 85 photo shoots. So I still do a lot of actual photography. So just to tell you, I'm in it right there with you. Of those, about 40% each year are newborn sessions. I also have 4 children, 8, 12, 15, and 16. My 16-year-old is a stepdaughter. She came through my heart, not my body. And my business and my lifestyle and my business and my art, is totally aligned with who I am as a person and my lifestyle, but it wasn't always that way. And I will tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. So my hope really is to give you a fresh perspective. Now, if you are new to newborn photography, if you've been doing it a different way, this is going to be a very image heavy presentation because we're visual artists and we need to see in order to understand, or maybe that's just me because I have dyslexia and ADHD. I don't know. I'm just projecting my stuff on you. But I really do want you to get a fresh perspective. If that's all you get from this next hour, I will have done my job correct. So I want you to feel like you can look at newborn photography from a different angle with a different approach. Even if you don't actually take that approach, at least now you know it exists. So I do want to get a little feel for the room. You can actually type this in there. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me ask you these questions. I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm so excited. So here's what we'll learn today. We're going to talk about what the heck lifestyle newborn photography is, in my opinion. We are going to teach you exactly what you need to run a newborn session. So you could take this and literally go and do a newborn session tomorrow if you wanted to. I'm going to give you my key considerations for a great lifestyle newborn session. I am going to teach you how I work with families in the home. I'm going to give you my exact shot list that you can follow. And I'm going to teach you my baby-led posing method, which I think is the most important piece. My approach to posing is baby-led, and I'll tell you a lot more about that as we go forward. So why lifestyle? This is my baby. She is now almost 9. She'll be 9 in June. Her name is Marlo. She is delicious, still this delicious. And when I had her, I had a thriving photography business already. I only worked as a nurse 1 more year after she was born. And my family work was very aligned with what I wanted it to be, with who I am. My family work was lifestyle, moment driven, lots of meaning, lots of artistry. It was really me. It was me who I am as a person. My newborn work at that time was still completely posed. I was hauling a beanbag and a background stand and a bag full of blankets and weird crocheted outfits that I bought on Etsy that didn't belong to the baby, and props and a whole 9 yard. I was dragging that in. You'd think that I would know these breakthroughs that we have as artists are obvious after they happen, but sometimes we just like can't get out of our own way, right? And we just like, you're like, duh. But for some reason, I thought that in order to be a newborn photographer, I needed to do photos that were posed with the background and all of that stuff. Why? Well, because that was what the internet was telling me. Other successful photographers who were newborn photographers were doing like that. And I didn't see the lifestyle approach to newborn photography being offered. So I didn't think it was possible. I was about to stop being a newborn photographer. I was like, you know what? My family part of my business is thriving. Maybe I don't need to do this, but I was going to take maternity leave. I didn't know why I was so misaligned. Anyway, I have my baby. Marlo's born. She's 3 days old, maybe 4 days. She was super sleepy. And I was like, cool, this is my opportunity to get my beanbag in my bedroom and take beautiful newborn photos of my newborn baby. And I am just a little personal background of me as a mother. I am like a granola home birthing attachment parent. I don't put my babies down. I am obsessed when they're newborns. I feel very strongly about that attachment approach to being a mother. Anyway, so I get my baby all naked and I put her on this beanbag and I'm like, oh, it was like it all flooded over me like a revelation. I was like, oh my gosh, I am hating newborn photography because this could not be any different, any further from who I actually am as a person. Why is my perfect newborn naked on a beanbag on a blanket that I've photographed other babies on that has no sentimental value or meaning to me at all, in a pose that she wouldn't actually ever be in? I had her like on her hands because she was so asleep. I picked her up. I didn't take one photograph. I had a good cry and I realized this is the photo I took. I didn't take one photo of her in that pose. And I thought, oh my gosh, I got to rebrand. And here's the thing. It was super scary because I had a profitable business doing pose newborn photography. And I totally rebranded. And you know what happened? My newborn photography segment of my business exploded because people can sense authenticity. And it's actually really hard to market yourself when you're not doing something that's from the heart. It really is. So that is when it all changed. I owe it all to Miss Marlo. So what is lifestyle newborn photography? We like to use words to describe things as artists, as humans. It's really more about the feeling for me. But what I have learned to do is take any family, any newborn in any home with any dynamic, no matter what they look like, what the ages of their kids are, and show them that they are beautiful, not make them beautiful. We do not need to make a newborn beautiful. That newborn comes out absolutely perfect, right? I have no expectations. The baby can be awake or asleep. I want to capture a little piece of humanity. I want to capture that baby's personality. And if you have your own children, you know that they come out who they are. I have 3 that I birthed myself. My 2 daughters could not be more different. I'm raising them the same, in the same house, right? They are who they are. And that family dynamic is unique and special and deserves to be paid attention to. I want to capture that piece of humanity that you get to capture when you're photographing families. It's really a privilege. It's a very intimate thing to be invited into somebody's home to take photos of their newborn, and I want to do them justice. So lifestyle newborn photography to me means more. We'll get a little bit deeper. All right, so raise your hand if you are already a newborn photographer. Who here already is a newborn photographer? And if you don't know how to raise your Smurf hand, you can raise your real hand if you want. I just kind of want to see. Raise your hand if you're just getting started in newborn photography. I want to see who's new here, new on the scene. Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of going crazy. If you're simply curious about this genre, that's fine too. Raise your hand if you're posing newborns and you run your shoots in a traditional way. Totally fine. You're welcome here as well. Raise your hand if you're new to lifestyle. All right, cool. We got a whole room full of everyone, which is pretty exciting. You're in the right place. I just want to get a gauge. I just like to gauge the room a little bit. So in my opinion, lifestyle newborn photography is more meaningful. It's more laid back. Think about, if you don't have your own kids, it's okay. You can still really relate to these people. Think about what's going on in this household. They have just rocked their world. If you haven't had your own newborn, it's like somebody takes your life and shakes it. Everything is turned upside down for a while. Even though it's beautiful, it's really stressful. And I want them to remember all of the things that are going on, and I want it to be stress-free. When I would go in for those post newborn photo shoots, I was literally spending up to 4 hours trying to make the baby sleep, bringing in all this gear and equipment. I was asking so much of this family. It was not laid back. It really wasn't. And in my opinion, it really wasn't that meaningful. So I want you to ask yourself what you would like to remember. This photo was one of my favorite photos that I took in 2022, or maybe it was 2021. It was 2021 actually. Because I remember what that felt like. When you have a new baby, you can't stop touching their hair. And this baby was on, like, sitting on the bed, and the mom couldn't even resist but to reach out and just touch that baby's hair. That's what I'm trying to capture here. That feeling of having a newborn. I'm pretty sure that when I had my babies, like, I don't want to remember my Marlo naked in a weird pose on a beanbag on a blanket that has no meaning to me. That gives me nothing. That just gives me a cute photo. There's not meaning there. I want to remember what it felt like to hold her in my arms, what she smelled like, what her hair felt like, what her lips looked like, what her little voice, like her little cry sounded like. That's what I'm after. I think a lot of photographers fear newborn photography because they are believing all of the photography newborn myths that circulate on the internet. One of the most common questions I get asked during this webinar is, well, I don't know, everyone in my area only wants posed newborn photography, right? Here are the myths that are circulating constantly. Babies need to be posed in order to create a professional portrait. Me of 2008 or 9 would have never thought that this was a professional portrait of a baby. I would have been like, oops, that's an in-between moment. Mom wants that baby with bunny ears on a beanbag. I would have literally thrown this one out. So I was believing that myth. You have to have a studio to be a professional newborn photographer. This is the most, I feel like this is toxic, limiting stuff that goes around on the internet. I have never had a studio. You know where I am right now, guys? I am at my kitchen table. That's where the magic happens. I don't have an office in my house even. I literally work at my kitchen table. I make $200,000 a year or more in my portrait photography business. No studio. You do not have to have a studio to be a professional newborn photographer. You need props and fancy outfits to be a professional newborn photographer. I wasted so much money on blankets and beanbags and posing aids and those little outfits that I was buying on Etsy or buying from other photographers because I thought that I needed to do that in order to be a professional photographer. This baby, with his little nappy on and his little outfit that his mom had him in, this is a professional portrait too. I assure you, they spent a lot of money on it. Babies need to be taken out of their parents' arms for photos. Now, I started this talk telling you that I used to be a newborn intensive care nurse. I'm also a passionate attachment parent. Babies should be in their parents' arms most of the time. We do not have the right as photographers to tell a mother that she needs to go down the hall so that we can soothe her baby because her baby is getting agitated because she's near. I hear that in Facebook groups often about newborn photography, and that is dangerous. Babies should be near their parents. You are not their parents, right? It should not, in the name of photography, should a baby be separated from their mother. That is advice that is circulating on the internet. Babies do not need to be taken out of their arms very much for photos. And in fact, I hardly ever take babies out of their arms. Babies need to be asleep for their newborn photos. This is the biggest one. And this is the one that I think causes a lot of unsafe practices. People overfeed babies, which is not good. By the way, you overfeed that baby, they're going to be fussy later in the afternoon for the parents. Not cool. People will overheat babies in order to make them pass out. They'll say that. You heard these words in Facebook groups. Like I've even heard of people like using a blow dryer to like blow dry a blanket, making the room super hot and sweltering. And if you've ever been a new mom, let's talk about those sweats postpartum. Like, do not make the mother turn her house into a sauna. And then now she's sweating and uncomfortable. You're there for the whole family. That is what's most important, not perfect posed photos. I need to have artificial lights or a flash to be a professional newborn photographer. I live in Seattle, Washington, where it's dark 9 months out of the year, and I don't even own a flash. I don't own a reflector. I don't own artificial lights. Those are limiting beliefs that circulate on the internet that make us think we're not good enough. You don't need that. My Canon gear, I can do an entire shoot at 4,000 ISO and it's fine. It's beautiful. Looks great. You do not need to have artificial lights to be a newborn photographer. So I asked my community to help me when I was writing this talk. I said, tell me what's the first thing that you think of when you think of a newborn baby? Just what comes to your mind? What word, what feeling? And people said fresh, tiny, love, beginning, bliss, snuggles, pure, sleepless, baby scent, responsibility, incredible, soft, delicate. Not one person said perfect. Not one person said baby in a basket. Not one person said baby with bunny ears. Not one person said baby with their hands in their arms in a perfect pose. That's not what you think of when you think of a newborn because it's not natural, right? Newborns are perfect as they are. There isn't anything, in my opinion, that's more perfect than a newborn. We're the ones that are going to mess them up with all of our stuff, you know, in the next few years or whatever. When they come out, they're the cleanest of slates. And of course, I'm obsessed with newborns. I was a newborn intensive care nurse. Now I'm a newborn photographer. Obviously, I have a soft spot in my heart for newborns, but they do not need to be made into anything that they aren't. End of story. They are perfect. They don't need to be put in a flower pot. In fact, I see babies put into props that I think are super unsafe. There is this profound beauty and simplicity that is a newborn baby, and that's what I'm after. All you need for your newborn photo shoots is your camera. That's it. I show up to my newborn shoots. I have two bodies. I use two camera bodies, mostly just to save time. I have a 5D Mark IV and an R5. I'll probably eventually upgrade to another R5. On my Mark IV, I like to have my 50 millimeter 1.2, and on my R5, I have my 35 millimeter 1.8. This is such a sleepy lens, guys. This lens is only like $350, and it is so beautiful. It's such a great lens. If I had to choose just one lens to take into a newborn shoot, I would take the 35 just because sometimes the spaces are a little bit tight in Seattle, but use what you have. Don't let gear hold you back. But all I bring are my cameras. I have a motto in photography, in life, in how I mentor people, in how I parent. I'm very much about being aligned, everything coming from the same place, and that's connection over perfection. There's a quote by Ben Okri that says, where there is perfection, there is no story to tell. So if you have a photograph of a mom and she's in this weird pose, you've seen those poses, right? Where they hold the baby like up by their head like this. And she's like got her eyes closed and her hair and makeup's done. She sees a photo. And when she sees a photo, she starts to tear it apart. She's like, oh God, I still had that extra postpartum weight on. I look a little bloated. I should have had my makeup done. My hair looks frizzy, blah, 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 blah. Baby has newborn rash. She keeps going on and on because she sees something. But if she feels something, she's so satisfied. She's happy for life. Like this photograph, for example, this mom brought this third little boy into the house. And what she's remembering here is this. She doesn't see anything. She's in this photo too. You can't tell. This is her leg. She's holding the baby. She feels something. Where there is, this tells a story. A baby on a generic background with someone else's outfit from Etsy, that's a baby becoming one of many. Where this tells a story. This reminds the mother of what it felt like to have a lap full of children when she had that new baby. And newborn photography is very powerful. My friend Sandra and I always say that we feel like we're a little bit like psychiatrists. You're a little bit like a therapist. Any kind of photographer is like this, and it's because you're really seeing people. This mom, when I walked into the home, she she was breastfeeding the baby standing up. It was her second kid. She's walking around like a confident second time mom. And the toddler, she had that toddler whipped into shape. Everything was running really well and perfectly. She sat down, got all posed with her baby, and I said, wow, look what you did. You are so amazing and strong and beautiful. And she just started crying. My moms cry a lot during sessions. I think it's because I really see them. And this is your opportunity to do that, to see them for who they are and what they've just accomplished. So lifestyle is just a word. We like to use words. When I first started my journey as a photographer, lifestyle was not a description we were using. I was called like a candid photographer, moment driven. Lifestyle is something that we've been using. I feel like in the last 5 or 6 years, it's gotten a little bit popular, but I am going to use it. I do use it to describe my work just to make things a little more clean. But I will tell you how I define it. How you define it might be a little different. In my opinion, there are 3 different types of or approaches to newborn photography. There is traditional, which is more posed, would be like the beanbag type of thing, or maybe with props, or maybe with outfits that are, cutesy or whatever. Lifestyle, or then I'm going to go on the other end. Documentary would be exactly as the word implies. A documentary photographer is really great at observation, at composing, but they're not doing anything to orchestrate the scene. They're literally standing back and documenting. A lifestyle photographer, lifestyle genre fits comfortably in between those 2 things. Lifestyle is what I like to say, a fantastical portrayal of reality. So I will go a little bit deeper with that. Now, full disclosure, I do a little bit of each type. I don't fit myself into a box. If the baby is more sleepy and allows for a natural baby-led pose, I'll do it. A little more traditional. Lifestyle, like this one, is I told the dad exactly where to sit in good light, exactly how to hold his hands. I unwrapped the baby how I wanted the baby. I stood on the bed on top of the dad. That's not documentary. That's me controlling the whole scene, right? That's me getting in there. And yeah, the baby yawned, of course. That is more of a lifestyle portrait. Documentary, I follow the family around the entire time. So this mom had just breastfed the baby. She was changing the baby's diaper. I squeezed myself into the shower to capture this moment so that I composed it and everything, but this was just happening naturally. So I do a little bit of everything at every session. So who should be offering this? Who should be offering lifestyle newborn photography? If you are a family photographer and you aren't offering newborn, you're leaving money on the table. And it might be because you were believing some of those myths, like I need to pose and I need lights and I need all this stuff. So if that's been something that's holding you back, hope that after today, you don't let that hold you back anymore. But another really great opportunity is for wedding photographers who want to have something to do in the slow season. Your brides are going to have babies. So it's a great opportunity for you as well. So I personally think that those 2 genres, if you're doing those, you should be offering lifestyle newborn. All right. So tell me how already. Spoiler alert, there's actually a lot of posing and directing involved. So this is a common misconception. People will share a photo like this and be like, oh, I just love those candid moments. It's a lie. Now, yeah, the baby yawned. I couldn't make the baby yawn, but this happened because I orchestrated the entire thing. So it's like a director on a set of a movie. They tell the actors exactly where they want them to stand. They have the lights exactly where they want the lights. They tell the actors, do this, do that. And then of course the actors are what make it amazing with their talent and their unique gifts. This is exactly what you do with a family. You get them into the position that you want them in good light. You direct them to interact, and then they make it something incredible. You are a director. You are the creative director of your photo shoot. Like this one, for example, mom's breastfeeding this baby. I went in and I asked her to cross her legs. I pulled her dress down to have that leg out. I like to romanticize motherhood. I asked her to look that direction so that I could get light on her face. I completely directed this very normal, natural thing that was happening. So think about all the things that are going on for the family. I said this already earlier. There's so much going on when a family has a newborn, whether it's your first or your fourth, the whole dynamic is shifting. They need you to be the expert. So I am not saying that because you're not posing babies, that you show up and you're just like, yay, I'm going to take these great photos. No, you have to have a system. You have to know how to do it efficiently. And you have to know how to be able to repeat what you're doing so that you have a consistent portfolio. And you have to be in control and the expert so that the parents don't have to be the experts. We are, as family photographers, our job is way harder than commercial photographers or fashion photographers who are photographing models who know exactly how to be good in front of the camera. Families are nervous. Some of them have never been photographed before. They don't feel pretty after they've had a baby. They feel like everything is so chaotic. Their toddlers are crying. People are pooping in the corner. It's a whole situation. They need you to be in control and able to create work that is aligned with your portfolio. So more in a moment. So my approach to posing babies is called I coined it baby-led posing. I always tell my families that the baby leads the session. If the baby wants to eat, the baby eats. If the baby wants to be held, the baby is held. I do not try to get photographs of the baby alone. I do try to get photographs of the baby alone, but I do not force them into poses that they wouldn't already be in, that aren't natural for the baby. If the baby does not like the pose and cries, I give them right back to their parents. So baby-led posing allows me to let the baby be the guide. This baby, I laid him down and this was the position he was in. Like nothing else needed to happen there. I couldn't have made him do that. I actually won an award for that photo. He's so cute, right? So where do these photo shoots take place? My photo shoots take place 100% in the client's home. I do not have a studio. I never rent a studio. I always do my photo shoots in the client's home. So here are my key considerations for a successful lifestyle newborn photo shoot. So these are the three things that I'm focusing on. Connection and emotion, of course, light. You can't be a good photographer without being obsessed with and understanding light, and the environment. Connection and emotion is my top priority. That is what I'm after anytime I pick up my camera. So I'm going to start there. I want my work to evoke an emotional response. When somebody looks at my photo, I want them to know that I felt something when I was there and for them to feel that. It is pretty hard to share a photo and expect someone to feel something if you were a robot and you didn't feel anything at that photo shoot. So this does take some vulnerability on your part. This family, I tell stories while I'm talking about this because I am obsessed with my clients. I love them so much. I have a legacy business, the clients that come back year after year. And this family, the little bit older parents, mama had frozen her eggs in her early 30s and met the love of her life finally. And they were able to have this baby after lots of failed in vitro with the eggs that she had saved, and they were running out and this one worked. And their love for this baby was palpable. It was like, I left high on the oxytocin in that room. And I wanted to just capture that joy that they felt. I could see it, I could feel it. And we were able to make some really beautiful images for them. I'm okay with the emotional response that I evoke being one that is negative. So I purposefully put photos like this out to the world because this is the type of mother that I'm trying to attract. There are a lot of moms out there who would sooner put a bag over their head than allow me to photograph their naked belly after having a baby. They want hair and makeup and the white gown. Great. There's a wonderful photographer for that woman. This is who I want to photograph. I'm looking for this. There are people who would see this and be like, ugh, I'm never going to that photographer. That's not a professional looking photo. I don't want my belly photographed. I don't want my boob in the photo. Not a chance. Well, they should go somewhere else. I'm okay with attracting and repelling, and any good marketer. And like I said, it's hard for me not to talk a little bit about business. Sorry. I like having a good business, but any good marketer knows that you need to be comfortable with attracting and repelling. And I do that with my newborn photo shoots or my work. Emotional connection is going to lead to client satisfaction and also artist satisfaction. So I already touched on this a bit. I'm going to just say it again one more time. When a mother or a father feels something, when they look at your work, they're clients for life. When they see something, they start picking it apart and they're not as satisfied. For you, the artist, remember back when I was throwing my baby on a beanbag, I was so dissatisfied with my newborn work because it didn't feel like me. I was not connected to it. You are less likely to burn out and more likely to have successful business if you are coming from a place of connection and satisfaction for yourself as an artist. So emotional connection is going to lead to satisfaction all around. It's a win-win. So how do you bring emotion to your work? I'm going to tell you, you have to be relatable. You got to be comfortable with being a little vulnerable. The connection is going to start with you. You are going to be the one that opens up that door and allows for that type of connection and vulnerability. If you've never had a baby, that's not an excuse. Some people will say, well, I've never had a baby. I don't know how to bring this kind of emotion to a newborn photo shoot. You can relate to them about what you have heard about the hard parts of having a newborn. I'll say to them, like, how did the birth go? How's breastfeeding? Oh, it's not working out. No problem. Don't feel bad about that. Breastfeeding is so difficult. How are you feeling? Are you exhausted? I bet. How can you relate to them? New mothers are invisible. It's all about that baby. It's all about that baby, and everyone is obsessed with your baby when it's really, really hard to have a newborn. So I get right in there and I relate to them and I'm vulnerable with them. I share my own difficulties, my own stories, my triumphs, my tips, whatever that I can. So you have to be willing to connect. And don't be afraid to fall in love with your clients. Feel something. This is a very huge honor that they invited you into their home to take a photo of one of their most intimate times. I really believe that. I've had newborns and it is an intimate time. You like are just in your little bubble. The whole world stops and nothing matters but what's in that household. If you invite someone in, it's because you trust them. So fall in love with your clients. And take some time. If this is all sounding a little too high, because I know you're like, give me some skills. Don't worry, I'm going to give you some. But I want you to feel this emotion, get into this emotion piece. I think that a lot of photographers make the mistake of obsessing over how they want their work to look. Am I light and airy? Am I moody? What actions am I going to use? You know, the list goes on and on about how it looks. And they forget about how important it is to think about how their work feels. You are an artist, and artists make people feel things. And if you don't know that you're an artist, well, you need to know it. Start practicing calling yourself that. So I'm going to tell you the words or emotions that I am after when I pick up my camera. You have the challenge of figuring out yours. They should be unique to you. I want to capture the emotion of nurturing. I love breastfeeding photos. I love feeding photos. I've showed you one here where the mom was giving the baby a bottle. That nurturing mode that a mother and father are in, or two mothers or two fathers, whatever. I get all different family types. That nurturing mode is palpable, and I want to capture that. When I do pose a baby, I want them to feel and look, those photos, serene. A sleeping or calm baby is so like, it's just like peace embodied. So that is what I'm after with those poses. I love the wonder that you can capture, sorry, that you can capture in a newborn baby. People try so hard to get newborns to fall asleep. When they are awake, they are so freaking cute and they are so engaged. You can like see their soul. That's something that we lose in ourselves when we get older, right? Like newborns are just this beautiful, clean slate. So I love to capture that. I like to capture the togetherness with a touch of romance. I really romanticize family life in all of my work. I say that I like my newborn work to feel easy, like Sunday morning. Again, when I feel like every time I had a baby, it was like everything happened in my bed. And there was never a time that I was more in love with my family. Every new baby that I brought home, I fell deeper in love with my family. It was like, yes, these are my people. And even though I'm not married to their dad, I still have like the fondest of memories of him taking care of me and how close we were. That togetherness is unmatched. And so I want to capture that. I like to capture the mutual attachment. I feel like I always say that when a baby is born, the baby's dependent on that mother is just as dependent on that baby. You become instantly dependent on that baby for survival. You're like, and maybe this is just me, but I couldn't leave the room without feeling anxious. So I like to capture that mutual attachment. So I want you to challenge yourself to think about what emotions you want to evoke with your newborn work. Okay, of course, the next most important thing as photographers in any situation is light. So I'm going to talk to you about how I work with indoor light. So I live in Seattle. If I can work exclusively in the home, so can you. It's dark here a lot of the time. I always do my photo shoots late morning at 10 a.m. That is the best indoor light I have found. If you do it a little bit later, if there is sun out, you run the risk of the light coming through one of the windows and being really harsh. If it's too early, the sun is too high and it's dark, same as if it's too late. So 10 a.m. works great for newborn photo shoots. Also, babies are less fussy in the morning. Babies, after like 2 o'clock, you run into the risk of a witching hour. So you want to do it when the baby is the most calm. So indoor light and babies less fussy at about 10 a.m. So when I get to a photo shoot, I do educate the clients before the sessions that I'm going to do this, and I take a little home tour and I choose where we're going to do the photo shoot. The light is what guides me. Do not do a photo shoot in a room with bad light. End of story, period. If they have this beautiful master bedroom and it's a cave, sorry, not going to do the photo shoot there. I've done whole shoots on a couch. I've done whole photo shoots in a guest room. Let the light be your guide. I only need one good window. That's it. Now, I have this photo as an example for saying that because I walked into this home and they lived in a townhome in downtown, like near downtown Seattle. And it was like black in there. I was like, oh gosh, what am I going to do? And I found in their master bedroom, there was this part of the bed that got this really beautiful light. And we literally did the whole shoot there. And I loved the gallery. It was beautiful. So I only need one good light. Be the expert. Do not do a photo shoot in a room with bad light, or you will be in an editing disaster. You can't fix bad light. So do not do that. Turn off all overhead lights. This might sound obvious for you, but for some people it's not. So I'm just going to straight up say it. Even if you're in a room with a big window like this one, the overhead lights need to be off. It changes your white balance. It gives you color casts. Babies are already a little bit yellow if they have a little jaundice. So you want to make sure that the overhead lights are all turned off. Thank you, Canon, for making gear that allows me to push my ISO way up. In this photo, the ISO is 4000. What I will say about this is that if you expose properly, you will not have a lot of grain or any at all. I don't see really any grain in here. I guess if I zoomed way in, I probably would. This family blew this photo up too. So it's big on their wall, looks great. Here's my other thing about grain. I shoot wide open, like 1.2 to 2.5 always, exclusively, no matter what, because I actually appreciate and like a little softness in my photos. I'm not a film photographer, and I did a little film photography in like high school. That's not where my passion started, though. I'm not one of those people that's like, I've always been a photographer. But what I will say about that is that film photography, which is where it all started, is soft. It's not tack sharp. Film photographers don't try to make their subjects look like cyborgs and go in and sharpen eyes. That's a whole new thing that us digital photographers have done. A photograph does not need to be without any texture. So don't panic. Your camera was made to have the ISO pushed way up. Okay. So the next most important piece, you're in the home, is also, of course, the environment. When I have an incredible home like this one in this photo, yes, I will move around the house and use their beautiful kitchen, et cetera, et cetera. I live in Seattle. Seattle is a very expensive place to live, and $1 million homes are like 2 bedrooms and 800 square feet. I'm not even exaggerating. So this is actually pretty rare. Even really wealthy families live in smaller homes in Seattle. So it's actually really rare that I get a big palatial home. I only need one good window. That's not where the magic happens for me. I'm not an architectural photographer. Don't care. I'm all about that connection. This photo, I did a whole newborn shoot in this for a workshop that I was hosting for my mastermind retreat. And we were in a concrete room. That's it. I didn't have anything else. And I did the whole newborn photo shoot there. So I only need a window. I only need the connection. The environment is the least important thing, but I do prefer clean and simple. I don't like things that are going to distract from that simple perfection that is the baby. So if there's a busy comforter, I will pull it back to try to get a solid sheet or ask for a solid sheet. I try to keep the newborns in neutral tones. I do a lot of pre-session coaching on my welcome site, and I advise them to put the baby in a white onesie that fits if they're going to put the baby in any clothes at all. I always say this isn't the time for a cute dress or a big bow. This isn't the time for, the baby's little outfit that has a bow tie that distracts from the tiny baby. I want it to be really about that newborn. And here's the thing that starts happening as well, is that when you put this type of stuff on your website, you attract people who have this more modern, clean aesthetic. So I really prefer clean and simple. When I walk into before the session, I tell the families, don't clean for me. Because I may not even work in the area that you cleaned. So I know what it's like to have a new baby. Don't clean. We'll remove the clutter in the area that we're going to do the photo shoot. So this family, by the way, I just photographed their third baby. This is their second, just a few weeks ago. They had just moved into this house. And so there were boxes everywhere. And so we just removed the clutter. There was this picture on the wall that I didn't like. I took the picture down. I will make it as clean and simple as I can. All right. So how do I do this in a way that is repeatable and reliable? Before the session and before they have even booked, you need to set yourself up for success. You will never be able to convince someone that this style is for them. So there is no convincing. They should go somewhere else. If they want posed newborn photos and they see this and it's not what they want, it's okay. That's what's beautiful about our industry. There's someone for everyone. Let them go somewhere else. You shouldn't have to convince someone. The way that you do it is by putting these types of photos out to the world and attract with that. So you want really clear brand communication, really good pre-session education, and a portfolio that is in line with lifestyle. So when families reach out to me for a shoot, I don't give them the link to book, goodness, I can't talk, until the very end of the email, because I first say, here's my portfolio. This is what lifestyle means. I really educate them to make sure that they are in the right place. Because if they're not, they should go somewhere else. I want them to be satisfied, right? All brand touch points need to be consistent. Your website, social media, etc. They all need to be lifestyle. So this is my portfolio online. I just grabbed a screenshot. This is my current Instagram feed right now, all aligned with this type of photography. There's no posed newborn photography there. So here is my newborn session workflow. Why do I have one? Well, it helps me to create the experience that's meaningful because I'm not chaotic in my brain. It allows me to be prepared and be the expert. It allows me to have that plan so I know exactly what I need to do, and it allows me to give them a really great, well-rounded gallery. I want them to get a gallery that's consistent with my online portfolio. That's what's going to make them the most satisfied. So I do have specific photos that I really feel like I need to take at every single session. It also keeps me organized. So if shit hits the fan, sorry if there's kids there, and things feel a little bit disorganized, I have a session workflow. I can just say, okay, I've done this one, I've done this one, I've done this one. It helps me to stay organized. I'm telling you, if you don't have a photo shoot shot list or a session workflow, you should create one. So first, gauge the vibe of the family. Of course, when you first walk into a home, I take a moment to just kind of feel it out and make sure that I can kind of get a sense for, okay, these kids are stressed. They don't want anything to do with the baby, or oh, these kids look like they're super lovey-dovey and they're going to be into it. These parents seem laid back. I don't know. You really want to work with them and meet them where they are. Be a mirror, be present. Here are the 4 P's of conscious present photography that I have created that really help you to calm the mood and to really create a meaningful session experience for them. Families know if they love the photos before you have even left. If the session felt chaotic, if it felt like you weren't in control, if they felt like they weren't doing a good job, they won't like the photos as much. If you are like completely in control, you're present, you've got everyone calm, they're like, oh, I loved working with you. They don't even care what the photos look like. They're already happy. That's what you want. So here are my 4 P's. I don't know why. I call them P's because it's power. The power of encouragement. If you haven't had family photos taken, go do that. Make that be a goal of yours to have family photos taken. It's the worst. And I'm a family photographer. You're just like, oh my God, my kids are a mess. I look like crap. I should have got my hair done. I should have bought that different dress. You're starting to think about everything, right? You're at it. You're just like, ah. So I constantly encourage the mom, especially, but the dad too. It's fine. It's fine that little Timmy just threw up in the corner. We're not going to worry about Timmy right now. We're going to focus on your baby. It's totally fine. You look so beautiful. If the baby's fussy, it's okay. Babies are fussy sometimes. You look great. You're doing amazing. Baby is perfect just as they are. We're already, as mothers, like worried about our baby's behavior, right? They're like, oh, I'm sorry, he's fussy today, blah, blah. Just encourage. That's going to bring so much calm to the mother and father. I always say, I talk about the mom a lot just because I'm a woman and, the moms are the ones that book the sessions usually, but the power of touch. So I mean this in 2 different ways. For one, I want you to touch your clients. You have to get comfortable with that. Now, I know that during COVID, this was a whole situation and it was really hard for me. I was like, we're not in the deep COVID times anymore. Make sure you wash your hands, of course, but I do a lot of posing and touching. I will push them together. I'll tell them how they want them to be. I'll even like grab their heads and move their heads. I put the baby where I want the baby. I do a lot of touching at the photo shoots, but this is also about encouraging them to touch each other. So when families, even if they're super lovey-dovey, when they get in front of you, the photographer, they recoil. They're like, ooh, am I going to really be intimate in front of this person I don't barely know? So I encourage them to touch each other. So in this one, like this little baby, the little girl was one of those toddlers that had that hair that just like kept falling in her face. It was so cute. And I was like, just brush her hair out of her face. Just keep doing that over and over again. Help me do that. And the little one, the baby, the toddler holding the baby, I'll say, get up and touch the baby's cheek with your hand. Do you feel that? Doesn't the baby feel so soft? As soon as they start touching each other, they relax. The other rule that I have for when I'm posing families is I don't want any light to be coming between them. I get them as close as possible. And even if they're a lovey-dovey family, you sit them down and they leave space in between them. You want to say, nope, hips touching, no light, get closer, 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 closer. The power of breath. I like breath work. I like yoga. I like meditation. I know how important breath is and how often we hold it. When a family seems stiff or they're just, I don't know, this family had a toddler at home too. They're getting this moment of peace for a minute. I'll say, take a deep breath and just breathe your baby in. Just take a deep breath and inhale the essence of this moment. Take a deep breath and exhale and just relax. Their shoulders relax. They sink into each other. Breath is very powerful. And finally, the power of empathy. And this goes with that vulnerability piece a little bit. Being a new parent is every emotion on the planet. You are elated and you've never been more stressed in your life. You're excited and you've never maybe been more depressed in your life. You might be experiencing some postpartum depression or postpartum baby blues, which it goes away, but you feel they're real. It's hard. Breastfeeding is painful. Your body feels like somebody else's. It's a really intense time. So empathize with them. All it takes is saying, how is it going? Are you getting any sleep? You look like you're doing great. I know how hard that is. It's so hard. Like really understanding. How's breastfeeding? Yes. Breastfeeding is really difficult, isn't it? I was so surprised at how hard breastfeeding it is. No one told me it was going to be that hard. Empathize with them. They will unfold in front of you way more if you do that. So here's my actual shot list and the order in which I do it literally every time, unless the toddlers are out of control. But most times they aren't. And here's the thing. I start with the siblings first. Why? Because they will lose interest in me. And I want them to have a low stress situation. I know that that toddler is experiencing rejection and all kinds of things. And so I don't want to be part of that stress. So I come into the home, I get on my knees, I meet the toddlers, and then I'm like, all right, we're going to get these sibling photos over with quick. I'm literally done with the sibling photos in like 5 minutes. And will I get more later if they let me? Of course. This is just I'm going through my list, going through my shot list to make sure I get the photos that I want. I know that families really want sibling photos, so I try to get those right away. I've been with a photographer for 13 years, and I've never had a toddler that I couldn't deal with. And I know that maybe that sounds crazy, but I do it fast. And I think that that's a huge part of why it works. Then for the same reason, I do the family photos right away. And what I tell the parents is, I'm going to work with your older kids quickly, and then they can just like go watch their show, have a snack, play outside, whatever. I'm done with them. Low stress. This family, they just actually had their 5th baby, finally a girl. This was a lot of boy energy in this house at this moment, right? All these kids were under the age of 6. They lost interest in me in like 10 minutes, but it was fine because I did the sibling photos and I did the family photos and we were done. So it is my advice to do that immediately, no matter how sleepy the baby is, whatever, do that. So at this point I say, all right, dad, out of here, or other parent, out of here, take the baby. I'm going to focus on mom for a minute. And I give mom that time alone with her baby. Now, if it's her first baby, easy, right? She's always alone with her baby. But when it's 2nd, 3rd, or 4th babies, like you don't get any time alone with your newborn. So I make it into this sacred time. All right, let's focus on you and your baby. And I spend time getting photos of her breastfeeding, of her holding the baby, feeding the baby, just being with her baby. And of course, dad and baby or other partner and baby, I bring in at this point. And again, I'm like, all right, switcheroo, mama, go take care of the other kiddos. If there are other kiddos, now I'm going to focus on dad and the baby. And it's the same sentiment. I'm like, this is your time to just soak this baby in. I make it into an event, into something that's sacred, not something that they have to do, but something to be celebrated. You get to hold this baby. Look how cute this baby looks in your arms. You look good with that baby in your arms. You are such an experienced father. I can tell this is easy for you. Just lots of encouragement and giving them that moment with their baby. And then finally, of course, parents and the baby. Even if there are other siblings involved, I want to take photos of the parents and romanticize their relationship. I want to celebrate who they were before the baby and who they are now. I love to do that. I love to really make it into something that's about their relationship. And then, of course, baby alone. So here is my approach, my baby-led posing approach to posing the baby. When I put the baby into a position that I want to take photos of them in, I place them, of course, and then for a second or a moment, I observe. Are they comfortable? Can they breathe properly? I've seen a lot of poses that I'm like, that baby is blue. This is not good. Is every limb in a position that feels safe? Is the baby safe on the bed? I observe, and then I adjust if I can, if the baby's allowing. And then next thing that I would say that this is a big tip is that when you get a baby in a pose that they're comfortable in, maximize that pose by capturing as many angles and details as you can, because you don't want to have the baby out of the parent's arms for very long. So with one pose, take as many photos and angles as you can. And then strengthen interactions that are already happening. And I'll explain what I mean there. My sessions are family focused. Like I said, babies rarely leave the parents' arms. You can take detail shots and head shots of the babies in their parents' arms. So just so you know, they are probably the longest I would say that a baby leaves the parents' arms, if they're like really into it, the baby's cool with it, would be like 15 minutes. But when I was posing babies, I was at the house for like 4 hours. It was insane. So I like to start with a swaddled headshot, awake or asleep, doesn't matter to me. If the baby's calm, if you don't know how to swaddle already, learn. If you take the full course, I have a swaddling section where I teach you how to do it. I was a NICU nurse for 13 years. For 10 years, I know I keep saying that. Babies all like to be swaddled, and parents will be like, they don't like to be swaddled. They're getting their hands out. No, that's called a Moro reflex. And they're doing it just because they can't help themselves. Babies need to be contained. So if you get a baby nice and tight, they chill out, and you can get a little headshot of them. I love the little headshots of newborns. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Then I will roll them onto their tummy and take a photo of them on their tummy. Why am I showing this photo? Because a lot of, with the baby awake, people think that in order to do this, the baby needs to be asleep. They don't. Babies that are calm and comfortable will sit in this normal pose for you. Whether I keep the diaper on or off, it's up to the parents. If I'm like, well, are you cool with them pooping on the bed? Most parents don't have a preference either way, but I do ask, what do you think? Should we take the diaper off? And they'll tell you. But I like to get this little tummy pose because it's natural, it's comfortable, the baby's okay with it. If the baby's not okay with it, we don't do it. I don't do this at every single session, but I do try. If from that point, if the baby is asleep, I will roll the baby onto their back and get a photo of the baby on their back. And sometimes this pose, by the way, the tummy pose, I'll do it with the baby swaddled. I'll go straight from this to here and I unwrap them like a little gift. And if they don't like to be unwrapped, I'll just take that picture of them with the blanket around them. So I roll them to their back. I take a few photos of them on their back. I like to take photos of them on their side. This is, again, a natural sleeping position for a baby. Nothing crazy happening here. I didn't smooth the blanket in Photoshop. I actually enjoy the texture. And then usually by this point, I've woken the baby up. Even if they were this sleepy, they're like, woman, leave me alone. And they've woken up. And so I do take some photos at the very end of their natural and normal movements when they're just kind of stretching and moving around. And now I don't mean them screaming and doing this. If they're crying a little bit, I'll take photos. If they seem super uncomfortable, we stop. But usually when they're first waking up, they're kind of like stretching and moving around. And I take photos of that because I think they're beautiful. I love them. Allow the parents to assist. Don't worry, we're almost done, guys. I know we're going a little over. So again, another common thing that you hear a lot is like, well, the parents can't be in the room. The parents can't help because the baby smells mom and they're not relaxed. Not good advice. Your parents should be there with their baby who they just birthed, and you can use them to help you. So that moral reflex that I was talking about, babies will have this reflex to kind of like freak out, and it wakes them up and makes them unhappy. So when I'm putting them in these poses that I really like to do, I will have the parents help me by putting a little pressure on the baby and putting the baby in the spot that I want them in. This is great because the baby is comfortable with the scent and the warmth of their parents' hands, and it's an opportunity for a photograph. Like I love this photo. And then this is just the progression. And then we got the pose that I wanted, which is a baby on its side in its normal position. And then again, capture every single detail. Keep your eyes open. If you notice that mom is, caressing a little toe, like that's what I mean by strengthening interactions. Ask her to do it again. If you notice dad's kissing the baby's head, ask him to do it again. Really strengthen it. Maybe put them in better light. But you are there to capture every little detail that you can and keep your eyes open. This was a photo of the whole family, but I saw these little feet on dad's arm here and I took this photograph. Keep it simple, break some rules, make art. Babies are an opportunity to create art. I have helped thousands of photographers. Like I said, I do have an offer for you. We have a full class where I teach you everything from how to prep the family before. I give you my exact email templates and education templates. I give you all of the things that you need to know for the session. I break all of my newborn poses down into steps, like 1, 2, 3. All of the sibling poses, all of the mom and baby poses, all the dad and baby poses, like do this, do this, do this, do this. All of the poses that I do of the baby alone, all of the online marketing tips about how to make sure that you get these types of people in the door. I give you everything. You get to see me do a whole photo shoot behind the scenes. It is the full deal. So we have a webinar discount going on. Brooke is going to put the link to join the class for 30% off. So the class is normally $297. It is, if you use the code LNPME30, it is $207 right now. So it's on major sale. It won't go on sale again like this until maybe my birthday, which is in July, and that probably won't be this much. So this is an opportunity to get in the door now. Even if you aren't going to take the class right away, it's yours for life. We have a super active Facebook community. These are some of the students' work after taking the course. Again, it's a repeatable session workflow. I have seen it help thousands of photographers. It's been pretty cool. So I want to answer questions for you. So I'm going to stop sharing and we will give you the code and whatnot in the chat. And Brooke has been keeping track of questions that happened during the webinar too. So she'll give them to me. Maureen, do you have a question? Or is your hand still up from earlier? I bet it's still up from earlier. So if you have a question right now, I'm going to lower these guys for now. If you have a question, raise your hand, raise the little virtual hand so that I can keep it in order and I will answer your questions for you. Thanks for staying for the full hour. I went over a little bit. Sorry, I'm a chatty girl. I can't help myself. Fatima? Did you raise your hand? Put your screen, your face on, if you will. Do you know how to unmute? It's the lower left corner. You can unmute yourself to ask questions. Anyone
Okay.
else?
All right. I'm here.
Hi.
Okay. Hi. I'm in my pajamas where it's 11 o'clock at night.
Love it. Love it.
I just wanted to ask you, this is not really a style we have in Jordan. It's mostly the type of newborn photography that you were talking about previously in the studio, and that's nothing that I have ever liked. So what you're saying is really quite, it resonates with me because I like lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wondering a few things. How long is your session? How long does it usually take? And if I wanted to start off with this, how much would you recommend I charge? And if I don't have a portfolio yet,
Well,
that
you need
also
to be in
has
my
to do with-
mastermind. You're asking so many business questions right now that I could take me 5 months to answer for you. I can't say what you should charge because I don't know enough about you and your business and the area of the world that you're in. If you were in my mastermind, we would unpack that. So I'm not going to answer that question about what to charge. We're going to table that one. But as far as the actual session, my sessions usually take about an hour to 2 hours, just depending on how much the baby needs to be fed, changed, etc. what I want to address is that you said this isn't being offered here. The only style is the more traditional style. That is maybe true, but the truth is, it's like, you know how when you want like a certain type of car and all of a sudden that's all you see on the road, you are maybe unaware of it being offered because the algorithm is feeding you what you've been looking at, which is the more traditional stuff. So I would not make that black and white statement just yet, but if it's true, say that that isn't being offered that much in your area. Well, this is an incredible opportunity to get ahead and be the one that does it. So some of this is luck in life. When I became an educator and got asked to speak at conferences and write classes and whatnot about my style, it's just because I happened to be one of the first ones to do my style of family and newborn photography 15 years ago. Now it's everywhere, right? But I got a lot of really big opportunities because I was one of the first to do it. So take that as a good thing. And then you are absolutely right. You need to put that out there so that people can see it. It's kind of like how like all of a sudden, I mean, the 90s are back and now I have like 20 pair of overalls where like a year or two ago, like I didn't have any overalls, but now I've been seeing them all over. And so I'm buying them. That's marketing, right? You got to get your work out there so that you can attract. And if you don't have it, then you need to do some portfolio building shoots in order to get that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say take that as an opportunity to like be the one that offers it. And I know that we have students literally from every country of the world that are doing this. So it's not just a United States thing.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope you join the full class. Anyone else? Questions? You can raise your hand if you would like. You can ask me questions about other stuff too, if you want. I know that in the last one, I kind of closed off early and people were curious about my mastermind. If you have questions about that, we're about to open up applications on April 1st. Anyone else? No, you guys good? Yeah. I'm going to say your name wrong.
Josie.
Josie. Oh, okay. It's like all one word. So I didn't know what.
Oh yeah, it's my last name also.
Okay. Hi, Josie.
Yes, my question is, how long of baby life do you recommend doing the session?
Great question. So with newborn photography that's posed, people want to try to do it within like the first 2 weeks so that the baby's super sleepy. That's the nice thing about lifestyle is that not all parents are ready to have their baby's photos taken in the first 2 weeks. Like if there's breastfeeding problems or jaundice or whatever. And so with this style, you can do it much later if you'd like. I'll do a newborn photo shoot up to like 2 months of age, but I will say that most newborns, most of my mamas and families will book within the first 3 weeks. So
thank you.
You're welcome. They do want the baby to be small. Yes. Helen. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
I was trying to find it. First of all, thank you for everything you said today. It was amazing. It was like super inspiring. I'm super happy to be here today. So my question, basically not much about the posing or leading the photo shoot. So what would you recommend? I know it's a complex question, but what way to market this type of photo shoot? Like what source of marketing? Like where to start? I don't know, like what about trying in Instagram and never bring me clients who sees the value of this type of photo shoot?
Oh, Helen, you should probably join my mastermind if you want to talk about marketing, because I could talk about it forever. This is such a big question that is hard to answer in a short little time, but I'll do my best. So there is not one platform that is better than the other. What matters is that you are consistently showing up and showing up with clarity. Now, all I will say in a quick nutshell is that social media is rented real estate. You are not in charge of what your clients are seeing, of who's seeing what. It is actually the least effective strategy, I believe. The most effective strategies for marketing are good search engine optimization. So meaning people being able to find you online and your email list. But we have, like I said, I got a mastermind that we go over that for like 5 months. It would be really hard for me to tell you exactly what to do. Now, if you are finding that you're having a marketing issue, it's probably because you don't have a strategy and probably because you're lacking clarity. So a lot of times, when I coach people, they'll say like, I want to be a lifestyle newborn photographer. And then I look at their, whatever they've got out to the world, and it's like nothing but weddings or something like completely different than what they're saying. And when there's that misalignment, it's really hard to attract what you want because you're not putting it out there. So, that would be my little quickest piece of advice. Instagram is, I love Instagram. Obviously I use it a lot, but my most effective and long-term strategies for my portrait business are search engine optimization and my email list.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love talking about marketing. That's my mastermind. That's all we do basically. So we'll put the link to sign up for the waitlist. I actually see a couple mastermind members in this room. They can contest. Like, it's intensive. We go into the marketing and business piece. My students, my mastermind members will see massive growth in all areas of life, but especially their business. So if you're interested, get on that waitlist. Karis. Gosh, I feel like I can't pronounce names sometimes.
You did it.
Yay.
Thank you. This has been really cool. I wondered, my understanding is that you always include a newborn album, like a high quality, beautiful album. And I so want my newborn session clients to have albums. And I have a lovely sample, and I just don't know. In my case, though, I guess I don't price it in. It's like they get to choose what they want. And so I really want them to purchase the album.
Okay.
And
I have a funny story about my albums that maybe you're not going to think is funny, but I don't know. I'm going to bring it in anyway. So we're trying to get a new gardener. I like to bring in out of photography business experiences, because business is business, right? And we're trying to get a new gardener, and gardeners in my area are really expensive. So anyway, I won't share my woes with you, but he gives us this quote that's astronomical. It was enormous, right? And he's itemizing the stuff that we're going to get. And of the itemizing stuff, one of them was the actual lawn mowing piece, which we actually have a really small lawn. Our garden is really big. Our yard is big. And the lawn mowing piece was like the most expensive for the year. And so my husband, doing exactly what any consumer would do, ripped it apart. And he's like, well, I'll mow the lawn. Let's take that off. And I was like, oh, gardener, let me give you a little piece of advice, bro. You cannot itemize your offers, because that's exactly what the consumer will do. They start saying, well, so if you put on there, I'm going to offer this album, I'm going to offer this thing, then the consumer starts to say, well, can I take off the $300 that the album costs? So do we offer albums? Yes, but we call the album complimentary. So every single client I'm all inclusive. So every single client gets all of the digital files and the complimentary album that we design. They get zero say in the design. And that's how I make sure they get that, because it's important to me too that they have something tangible. We use Miller's signature books that are only about $60 for us to make, and they're beautiful. So that's how we do it at low cost. And it makes, you want to be, if you're going to offer product or something that costs you money, you have to make sure that you are still being profitable. So that's how I do that. If you want to upsell, it's really hard when you're kind of all inclusive to upsell. So I just throw it in. Don't itemize it though. Yeah, I was like, gardener, we just got it way cheaper because you itemized. All right, Ariel. Darn it, I was making it Spanish.
No, you did. I'm so used to it. First of all, thanks for existing. You're amazing and like changing. So you mentioned that email marketing is one of your favorite ways. So I have a nice sized email list because I do families and headshots in schools, but I feel like every time I send out an email that's specifically about newborn photos, 6 people unsubscribe because they're like, oh, well, I'm done having babies. And I try to make them like fun and personable, but it's like, how do you use email marketing to target newborns if people only have like 2 or 3 babies in their life?
So first and foremost, I would say that don't worry about people unsubscribing. You don't have time for that. Every time you send an email, people are going to unsubscribe. That's just part of it. That's no big deal. When I'm marketing for newborn, I would say it's actually more search engine optimization, where most of my newborn clients come from, is finding me on Google. I come up the first page on all of the things that I want to come up for, first or second. So if I'm not really paying attention to it, it'll slip to the second page. So yes, you're absolutely right most of the time. And that's really because a lot of people don't have a photographer yet when they're like coming on the scene. My repeat clients that are on their second or third baby, like those are legacy clients. That's like money in the bank. When I get a client that really loves me and I can exhaust the life of that client through many different shoots, amazing, right? That's like a huge part of my strategy. So you're right. Sending emails is more about booking for my newborn or for my family photo shoots. And my search engine optimization tactics are what really bring in my newborn stuff.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I do get a lot of clients from social media as well, but I just don't like to advise that to be a super reliable way to market ourselves, because it's just changing so often. And it's like, if you can focus your efforts on search engine optimization and getting people on your email list, it's much more effective, and you own those platforms. Like you don't, I mean, I guess you don't own the algorithm of Google, but you're more in control of it.
Mhm.
So,
Awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome. Katrine. Oh, you got to unmute yourself. I'm just going to let.
There, you hear me now?
Yep.
Hi,
Hi.
hi. Would you do a photo shoot of a newborn outside if the lighting is really bad in the flat?
I have never done an outdoor newborn photo shoot. I know that some people do. I haven't. It's just, I want that cozy feeling of being inside, and I will just do it in like a super small room, one room if I have to. So I've never done that. There are some people who do it though, and I think it's cool. It's beautiful. But for me, it would just feel like a family photo shoot if we were outside, which I do all the time, right? That's where I do all my family photo shoots. But I like the intimacy of being indoors. That's just a preference thing for me.
Okay.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome. You are welcome. Oh, thanks, Kaylee. We got a mastermind member in here saying, I knew I saw you floating around in there. It's like all of your guys' heads move. It's like seizure inducing as people join and stuff. Okay. Anyone else? Any questions about this opportunity? I really do hope you stayed for the hour and 18 minutes. So join the full class. This is where you will get every single thing that you need from start to finish. It is a super intensive, like everything included opportunity. I do all of the different parts of the newborn photo shoot broken down into steps, really doable, really manageable. And I do talk about the marketing piece. Oh, Brooke, you're going to tell me that you sent me a text message with all of the things, didn't you? Yeah. My assistant isn't here. I break it all down for you in a repeatable way that you can go and do. And I do have students from literally all over the world who are doing this. So it's not just Seattle, Washington that this works. It works globally. Because people like to feel things, guys. I'm in the feelings business here. You are too. Okay, let me look at the really quick. She sent some of the questions that I missed. Do you have a macro lens? So that 35mm that I have is a macro lens. I don't use it as a macro lens though. I have a macro lens. I do have a 100mm macro. And you know what? I just kind of realized I don't really like macro photography that much. So I don't really spend a lot of time on it, but yeah, I have one. I don't take the 100mm. I haven't taken it in like 5 years, probably, to a photo shoot. Will we have the record of this video? I will send the opportunity to watch the replay, but it will only be live until the end of the week because it has this discount code in it. So yes, we will. If you loved it, you should take the full class. $200 is not a lot of money. You will make that money back when you do one photo shoot and it will be worth it. So I want you to get your ROI. I'm all about making money. That's a huge, important piece for artists. We don't want no starving artists. Like, you got to get out there making money, but you have to invest in yourself in order to do it. How do you handle safety moments while siblings hold the baby? Yeah. So I would never put a sibling like on a chair that wasn't stable, or a chair that didn't have a deep back. I actually do most of the baby and sibling photos on the bed so that there's lots of room around. And that's why I like the 35, because I can literally be like right there, and I keep the parents nearby as well. So great question. And you already answered that, of the age of the baby. How long does this offer last? It is good until next Friday, end of day. So you have until next Friday, end of day, to make this purchase. I'll send an email or two to remind you. I I really think that you should join. I know that it will change your life. I know that it'll change your perspective. I know it'll give you the tools. That's the most important piece, is like having that like step by step. And if you've already taken any of my posing classes before, you know that I literally break down the poses like 1, 2, 3, 4. You can literally go and repeat the poses step by step. The family poses, the sibling poses, the baby alone poses, mama, baby. I break them all down that way. Okay. Another question. Hold on. Brooke's texting them to me so that I can see them. You raised your hand. I signed up for the mastermind waitlist. Does it cover similar info as the newborn course? The mastermind is not, so when you're a member of my mastermind, you have access to all of my courses because it's a high ticket price. And what we go through is everything that you need to understand in order to have a successful, profitable, sustainable business. So we do all of the marketing foundations. We talk about systems and templates so that your business is running like a professional, well-oiled machine. We talk about pricing for profitability, not pricing on trends, but pricing so that you're making money. We talk about a lot of personal development and mindset. So we get really clear on why you're probably having trouble with, like, who here has a hard time calling themselves an artist or has a hard time sharing on Instagram because they are worried they're going to like, I don't want to bug people. Anyone here? Yeah, only one. Okay, well, maybe you guys don't need the mindset work. Who suffers from imposter syndrome? It's really hard to realize your full potential if you don't go in and do some inner work. Any successful entrepreneur will tell you that and know that. So our mastermind really focuses on a lot of that. So it's not at all the newborn course. They are completely different. If you do decide to join the mastermind, you have access to the courses, but only while you're a member of the mastermind. So they're not lifetime access. So we do have a lot of members that will actually buy the classes as well so that they can have them for life. The mastermind will probably fill up on the wait list alone. We've got almost 500 people on the wait list and only 30 spots. So I would definitely make sure you get on the wait list. It is becoming an industry-wide recognized mastermind. We're sponsored by Canon, Miller's, Shootproof. It's pretty cool. We end with a really great retreat. I wasn't really planning on talking a lot about it, but it is kind of my life's work. I love it so much. All right. Anything else? I feel like you guys are still here. So do you have any more questions or you guys just want to hang out? I wish it were like, I'll open up a bottle of wine and we could chill. It's 1:30 though. I probably shouldn't be. All right. If you have any questions that come up while you're trying to decide if you want to purchase the course, you can send me a direct message on Instagram, Elena S. Blair _photography, and we will help you. We have a great customer support as well. And again, if you need a push, like, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, like, why wouldn't you buy the class right now for $200 instead of $297? We're giving you $100 off. So you should buy it now. All right. No. Oh, is that class? So it's not a class. The mastermind isn't a class. The mastermind is a group coaching program. It's actually live. We meet once a week. And yes, we do talk about search engine optimization. We talk about everything that you need to know in order to have a professional business. We talk about marketing. We talk about building a website that is that has a great user experience that will have really good search engine optimization. I bring in a search engine optimization expert. I bring in other experts. We talk about marketing yourself on Pinterest, Instagram, and more. We don't do that until later though, because we really build the foundations of marketing so that you are really clear on what your brand identity is and who you want to be attracting. So it is a business mastermind. We do talk about, creativity and artistic development as well, but it is all about the business side of things. It's a live group coaching program. We meet once a week for 5 months. All right. I am so glad to have had you all here from all over the world. Thank you so much for being here. I'll send the replay. And again, if you have any questions, just send me a direct message on Instagram. Take care, everybody. Have a good week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.